Good morning. Welcome to the Real Biz Academy, also known as the Centermac Weekly Sales Training. I'm very excited about today's training because a lot of newcomers, and I got four topics I wanted to share with you guys. I think you will find that if you attend our training, not only will you learn some things that are new in the industry, but you will also keep up with your knowledge in the industry. So the four topics for today are number one has to do with story pins. As you know, I've been a big fan of Pinterest for quite a few months now, and for good reasons. Well, actually, the number one topic is on hashtags. After I talked about hashtags, I want to share with you guys about the story pins. Okay, and then we're gonna go into how to use Canva to design a really professional and impressive listing presentation. Not marketing plan, but listing presentation. There's a difference between listing presentation and marketing plan. I have demonstrated to you what my marketing plan looks like. As part of a listing appointment, you want to have ready your listing presentation, which is a very professionally looking type of material, which I'm going to share with you about how to design using the Canva application. And then lastly, I'm going to show you guys, or at least go over you guys, some of the things you should pay attention to in your premier title report. I do understand that, real estate agents are not trained lawyers. So you will be asking for too much to have real estate agents play the role of lawyers and try to interpret the title report. However, it is important nonetheless to know what are some of the things that can appear on the title report that could cause delays in the close of escrow or could derail your whole transaction at times or could cause unhappiness in your buyer after close of escrow because you did not pay attention to them or did not discover them while it is still in escrow. So we'll go over these four things today. Now you're seeing a slightly different screen now. As you know, I'm constantly improving on my live stream game. And one of the things I'm working on is to make my sound audio come out better. And my video today, you're looking not at a webcam, but today you're looking at my Sony. Okay, I'm using my Sony as a webcam. I still have some improvement I need to make, but definitely uh, much nicer than a webcam. Okay, I have my lighting and everything ready. Okay, now let's go ahead and dive into the first topic. Now I'm going to share my screen with you. I've already had this thing all set up so I can quickly share my screen with you. We're going to start with hashtags. Some of you are already familiar with hashtags, and other people are not familiar with hashtags. Hashtags are a way of making your material discoverable. For me, more importantly, is to making my material rank on Google search and on YouTube search. I want to show you how powerful this thing can be. Let me go into my screen sharing mode at this moment. All right, you should be looking at my screen right now. So I'm going to switch gear and I'm going to, now this is the material for afterwards. That's the Premier Title Report, but I'm going to take you okay, let's do some Google search so you can see the power of hashtags. I mean, making your material rank on Google. Now, I have to apologize. Currently, we're heavily into the Chinese materials, but eventually we're going to expand into the English materials because I don't have enough content in the English material to build a strong SEO yet. So that's why I'm looking forward to more participation by our agents, so we can have a stronger SEO in our English publications. Okay, now let's try some Chinese word search. I'll translate it so you know what I'm searching. Okay, now let's go ahead and search a couple of hashtags. It's not really a hashtag, but a couple of keywords. I know this is a favorite of mine is shipping's YouTube videos. Now, if I search under Corona, as you know, shipping lives in Corona. Now, this is actually Corona Realtor in Chinese. Now, the importance of that is that we don't have a lot of competition yet for this particular keywords on Google search. So if I type in this keyword, you're going to show the power. You're going to see the power of hashtags appearing on first page of Google, and I'm going to uh, show it to you. As you can see, at the very first top spot is the hashtag that I use. Now, this one stands for Corona Realtor. That's in Chinese. Okay. Now, if I click on this, you're going to see. Now, actually, there are, uh, we got number one and number two. Those are both as a result of hashtags. They just show different videos. First one, if I click on it, you're going to see this video by shipping. Okay. And if I, let's see if I can go back here. I go back and click on the one that is ranked number two. Now this one, I'm gonna see three videos that would appear on Google first page search as a result of hashtag. As you can see at the very top, it says Corona Realtor in Chinese. And you got number one and number two. So use of hashtag can be applied to ranking on YouTube as well as on Google, especially on Google search. I think it's very, very helpful, I would say. Okay, I'll show you another one. This one is actually by a different agent. Okay, I'm going to show you a different search. Now, if I go with Catherine's, Catherine, as you know, is based in Pleasanton. So if I search Pleasanton, Realtor in Chinese, right? As you know, she always ranks on number one, okay, on this Google search, uh, just because her SEO is pretty strong. And in the number two spot is the hashtag Pleasanton Realtor in Chinese. If I click on it, and you're going to be able to see there are three videos that share the same hashtag. So people are going to be able to find these videos. Okay, so that's one use of hashtagging. All right, and also I wanted to show you something else. I want to show you on the same keyword search. If you go down, if you scroll down a little bit lower, you're going to see a couple more interesting things. Let's see here. Do I see it here? I don't. I don't on this one, but if I go back to the other one, I'll show you. This is the keywords for shipping, Corona Realtor in Chinese. And I want to show you this one right here. This also ranks. This is actually our Pinterest pin. So even though presently there are not a lot of Chinese users on Pinterest, but Having Chinese pins on Pinterest also helps in the Google ranking when people do Google search. This one here, if I click on it, and you're gonna see this one actually shows our uh, Pinterest page. Okay, there should be other pins that will take directly to. It should not show the pin. Oh, that's because I'm signed into my account. But if it's a consumer clicking on it, it will show shipping's Pinterest pin. So that's another reason why I use hashtag, uh, because hashtag actually improve on my uh, YouTube videos ranking as well as my Pinterest pin ranking. So that's how you use hashtag. Okay. Let's see what else I want to share with you. All right. So next thing we're going to talk about is actually the story pin. So let's go to my Pinterest account. Story pin is actually very, very new on Pinterest. We got Facebook stories, we got Instagram story, and now we got Pinterest story pins. So that's kind of interesting. Now I did my first Pinterest story pin yesterday. I want to show you the kind of result we can get from Pinterest story pins. It's amazing. You will be amazed. Okay. Now let's go to my homepage. Let's go to my page for Pinterest. All right. Okay. You see this one right here? Another reason why we should do story pin is because story pin always, at least at the moment, story pins are going to rank on top of the regular pins. So, that's that because for whatever reason, Pinterest wants to promote story pin because everybody else has story, Pinterest doesn't have. So I think they felt like they are left behind. So they want to promote the story pins. Now, this is what a story pins look like. Okay, now a story pin, it's going to look like this. Now, this one, I actually published it yesterday at about 5 o'clock. Look how many impressions it's got already. And this is all for free. I did not pay for it. Okay, 6,590, no, actually 6,890 impression. And that's from yesterday. Okay, 5 o'clock. So within 24 hours, you'll get about 7,000 impression. But it doesn't mean there's anybody gonna click on it. All it means is that you have 7,000 opportunity to be clicked on. As mentioned, there are very few Chinese users on Pinterest at the moment, but with time, you never know. Most of the users on Pinterest are overseas users. In fact, I think their stats show that about 80% of the users are overseas, or maybe a little bit less than that. Of them, mostly Europeans. So if we put English content for the story pins, I bet if we do a good design on the cover pin, and then we go ahead and make a story. One thing I can think of is if we can make a story of the listing that we have. For example, when you do a video on the listing that you have, each room you can spend about less than 30 seconds in each room shooting the video in there. The maximum you can have for each video in a story pin is 60 seconds. So if you want to limit yourself to no more than 60 seconds, that way you can have. Now this is a story pin. I just did it this one just for fun and just so that I have a feel for what a story pin will bring me. Well, it brought me nearly 7,000 impressions, and it's free. Well, they only give access to certain account holder. Ours, we have a paid account on Pinterest, so we have access. We can actually use, it's called early access. We can actually create Pinterest pin if I click on this icon here where it says create, you see it says create story pin early access. Not everybody can create the story pin, but we can create story pin. So I was thinking, if you look at this, the Chinese one, we designed a cover pin,
我觉
and
得
then
第一个
behind
建
it,
议啊，对自住房买家来
and
说，我
this
的
is
建议
about
啊，
less than
就
60
是不要
seconds.
犹豫，
So
因为
this
时
is
间不等人，
the
房子也
video
不
that
等
we
人。
made
然后呢，第二个建议
regarding
呢，就
suggestions to
是
buyers.
要做
So
好
that's
准备，
Judy
心理
talking.
上的准备和财务上的准备。
那目
And
前
then
这
we
个情
got
况呢，
Catherine
就
talking.
需要大家根据市场情况了解
那么，当我
And
们
then we
抢房
got
的时候
Selena
呢，我们
talking.
在
So this
抢
is
offer
what
的
they
时候
call
也
a
要
story pin.
尽量
好自
Okay.
己的购买能力。
Similar
因为
to
现在
Facebook
出
story,
价
but it is nonetheless it is brand new in Pinterest. So I would encourage you guys to create content in English so we can actually take advantage of the beta period. I think it's still beta phase. So they are not opening it up yet. They are opening it to subscriber at the moment, and we are subscribers. Okay. So story pin. And one other thing you can do about story pin is you can easily schedule your story pin and make it an Instagram story. Not easily, I wouldn't say easily. There's some maneuvers you have to make. You can actually go to Tailwind. Okay, let me open up my Tailwind account. All right, this is my Tailwind account. In my Tailwind account, I'm gonna close this, but oh, Selena, I mean Joanna, to answer your question, I'll put the question on the screen. Who do we send the video for the Pinterest pin? Here's my suggestion. If you have now the video have to meet the specs though. So essentially, your video needs to tell a story. In this case, your story would be your listing or whatever property that you want to find buyers for. Okay. Now, what you want to do is to now, if you have a long video, most of the time when we shoot video, especially lately anyway, when we shoot video for our new homes, for the newer homes, we should we go by room to room. So usually they are like 15 seconds or 9 seconds, 10 seconds, at best 30 seconds. So those video lengths would fit within Pinterest pins criteria because each video pin has a maximum length of only 60 seconds. So here's my suggestion. If you are going to be shooting some video pins, make it logical, make it sequential. Uh, for example, recently we shot some new homes in Livermore. So what we did was we had a 2-minute intro. Of course, 2 minutes would exceed what Pinterest allows you, but you can actually, when you record your video, you can record a short version that is shorter than 60 seconds for Pinterest, and then a longer version to allow you to make your YouTube videos. You've got two different versions. That way, the editor, in this case, you'll be Justin, but maybe someone else in the future. As you know, I'm using a virtual assistant going forward to edit my video. So you would upload. We usually create Google Drive for you. So if you want to participate in making videos, we will create Google Drive for you with your name on it, and then we'll do a share with you. You can go ahead and share your video in the Google Drive, and then the editor will just take it from there. Like in my case, when I go out to Northern California to shoot for video, uh, I use several different cameras. So if the video clips come from my Canon, under let's say for example is Joanna Cruz, and under the Joanna Cruz folder, it will have a subfolder. The subfolder could be Tracy New Home, for example. And then under the subfolder, Tracy New Home, we'll have different subfolders. One of the subfolders has to do with your thumbnail photo. For example, you want to take some photos for your thumbnail. Another subfolder would maybe if you use different cameras, you can have a subfolder for that particular camera, and then a different subfolder for a different camera. Now, in my case, I use two different cameras at a minimum. So in the subfolder, it will have Kenny's Sony or Kenny's Canon and so forth. You can do the same thing, and then you just upload it there, and then the editor can just go in there and take the video clips and start editing. Okay, so you don't really have to do much. You just have to go take your videos. Now you can take your videos uh, with just using iPhone. If you know how to adjust the lighting, the white balance, you have autofocus and everything, it's going to come out on an average. Your iPhone video is going to come out good anyway. Okay, so this is how you're going to do it. So just upload them there, and then the editor will take it from there. If the editor needs anything else, the editor will let you know. Now, depending on how you shoot your video, the intro usually we have like an audio already, but inside when you're taking the video, there are two ways to take it. You can take it the vlogging style, which means that as you're taking the video, you're talking. Okay, that's vlogging style. Or you can just simply take the video and then do a voiceover. Or in this case, if we are doing a story pin for Pinterest, uh, it is really not necessary to do voiceover, and I'll explain to you why. And the reason is these video clips are so short, you know, if you try to do a voiceover, you may feel yourself being rushed into finishing a sentence. So I think, say for example, in the case of story pin, Pinterest will allow you up to a maximum of 20 pins. Your first pin is usually your graphic. It could be a video, but you're not limited to a photo. But usually, the first pin is a cover photo. So you know, whatever your cover is to attract the user to click on your story pin. And after that, it can be all video, or you can have about you know 15, 16, 17, 18 videos. It doesn't matter. So you arrange them sequentially so it's logical to the viewer. So it's like, okay, they're watching this home virtually. And then toward the end, you need to make sure you have a call to action though. It can be a graphic photo with a call to action in the end. So you have two photos, one in the beginning and one in the end. And in the middle, it can be all videos. Or you can have a mix of photo and video. It doesn't matter. A story pin can be a mixture of photos and videos. And once you have done that, you know, because our SEO is so strong right now, you know, we just give us the material and we'll put together a nice story pin for you and we'll promote you. And it's free. Within 24 hours, you're going to get thousands of impressions. And many of them are English speaking users. So if we create something that is meaningful, that brings value to the users, and also we have to put it in the right category. For example, when you create your story pin, you have to select relevant topic. If you're creating real estate content, they don't have a lot of selection. One of the selection that they give you is called real estate buying. Certainly, in your case, you will use real estate buying. Okay, so that's how you do it. All right. Now, those story pin, let me just kind of share with you. I don't know if I can enter my. You're not going to see the, as you know, Tailwind is a scheduler. I use Tailwind to assist me in scheduling my postings on Instagram. That way, I can do postings on Instagram in big numbers. I like to average about 5 postings per day, but the 5 postings, make sure you have 5 different categories each day You don't want to be posting ads all the time. People get tired of you. So certainly you want to post things like uh, things that are inspirational, things that are educational, things that are fun and entertainment, about food, about travel. And then 1/5 of that content can be advertisement. That's what you want to have. And currently, I'm using a virtual assistant to help me do all of that. So she's actually pretty good. My Instagram program, my Instagram followers had been, my Instagram had been long ignored for a long, long time. When I decided to go back onto Instagram, I started with about 300 followers, and now I got 400. I got 60 followers in 24 hours. She's really good. She actually went to Facebook to bring these followers to my Instagram channel. Okay. Now, this virtual assistant, they are really, really good in this stuff. Okay. So the way you're going to post story pins to Instagram from Pinterest, you may using Tailwind. It's a new feature on Tailwind. It's not very straightforward. Today, I'm not going to have time to show you how to do that. I'll save that for the future. All right. Okay. So that's all we're going to talk about story pin today. Now let's go ahead and talk about how to use Canva to design your listing presentation. Let me go into Canva. For those of you that are new to Canva, you might want to pay attention to Canva. They have the free version, and then they have the paid version. My recommendation is start playing with it using the free version. If you think it makes sense, immediately get the paid version. The paid version is really not very much. Okay. I think I don't know how much that was, but I think it's very, very small amount of money. But you can do a bunch of stuff in Canva. All of the thumbnails and many things that Justin created for me, we actually create them in Canva. Okay. Now let me see if I can get into Canva right now. All right, this is me. All right. Now I'm in Canva. What to say? Canva is really nice to first-time user. Of course, I agree with you, Justin. It is so easy to use, and I had my virtual assistant actually create a listing presentation for me. Let's see how she did. Uh, let's see here. All right. Okay. Oh my God. What happened there? Something happened there. Okay, let me go to all my designs. Now this is a listing presentation that she created for me. Okay. I have not finished it yet, but certainly I can make it a lot better than what it is right now. Now, the template that I created, you guys can actually use the same template because I don't really want to have different agents creating different listing presentation. The content can be different, but the design should have the same color scheme. As you can see, green is our Centermac color. Just so you know, when you create things, when you do your graphic design, don't forget our brand colors are green, charcoal black, white, and yellow. But the dominant colors should be green and black because that is our logo color. We should not dilute our branding by using all kinds of weird colors. Okay. Now, at first, she designed the lines as yellow. I told her, I said, let's use our Centermac green on this one. Okay. All right. And of course, the first page, you have Centermac Realty. And then since this is a listing presentation, the title is appropriately listing your property, right? Okay. And then where it says presented by Kenny Tanner, if you're going to use this template, it can be changed and modified to actually it says prepared by. So you can actually replace my name with your name and start using it. Okay, I will actually share this on Google Drive. Okay, now this is the second page. The second page is about presentation features. It gives a roadmap to your prospective seller about what you're going to be talking about. Okay, now as you can see the color scheme, uh, the dominant color should be green though. So little things like the lines and stuff, they can be yellow. That's okay. Now you can see a lot of whites because white is also our brand color. Even though we don't see black here, but the background is really dark. So technically you can say there's a little bit of black in your design. And then this one says what we will cover today. Now, the first thing we're going to tell the prospective seller is about us. Who is Centermac? What kind of company are we? Mission, we'll talk about. The mission is actually something that my VA added. I thought she was pretty smart. At first, it was just about us, and then we would just jump into whitelist with us. So she inserted mission in there because about us was getting to be too long. She just kind of break it up, okay? And so we have the mission, all right? Okay. Now mission, and then the third item is whitelist with us. So we need to tell them, what would be the advantage of listing with us. And the fourth item is our listing strategies. Similarly, we can talk about Instagram, talk about Pinterest, we can talk about YouTube because that is our listing strategies. Okay. Uh, I used to have, I used to cold call. Okay. But that's part of the marketing plan. We don't really want to uh, talk too much in great detail in the listing presentation. We only want to continue that on with the marketing plan. I've shown you my marketing plan before. So after you finish the listing presentation, that's when you actually dive into the marketing plan. We're not there yet. Okay, this is just preliminary stuff. Our listing strategies, of course, that's important. It's important to let the seller know what our listing strategy is. Creating the right buyer persona, that's one of the topics we'll be discussing. Here it says HLDC listing success rates. HLDC should be replaced with Centermac because she was obviously using a template. Now I will replace it with Centermac once it's finalized, and it will be shared on the Google Drive. All of you can actually use it. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Okay. Customer success stories. Now this is actually, it can be individual. Now, if you're a new agent, you don't have a lot of success stories. Just use our company success stories. Okay. Uh, you don't have a choice. You're going to use company success stories if you don't have your own success stories. But if you are a seasoned real estate agent, I would encourage you to use your own success stories. I'm sure you have a lot of success stories that you can share with the prospective seller. Okay. And then finally, the Centermac difference. What distinguish Centermac from your competition? So these are the components in your listing presentation. Okay, let's move on to the next page. The About page, as you can see, the color scheme, we got the dark background that stands for the black color. We got the white, we got the yellow, and we got the green. So pretty much well balanced. As you can see, a good design would consist of 3 different font sizes minimum. Sometimes it's 4. It should be at least 3 or more. About Us is the biggest. Centermac Realty is the second largest. And then you got the fine prints. So it actually has 3 to 4 font sizes. So that's pretty good. As you can see, it looks nice. It looks very pleasant to the eyes. Okay. All of this is pretty much boilerplate. This one, I don't encourage you to change it because we decided this is the way it's going to be. So if you use the template, let's go ahead and keep it that. Make sure we have that consistency. Okay. All right, let's move on. Next one is the mission statement. I may tweak it a little bit, but it looks pretty good right now. Since we don't have any green on this page, I make the line green as opposed to yellow. She had it at yellow at first. I told her to change it to green, so we have the green and the black and the white. Okay. Now the yellow should not be a dominant color in your design. That's decorative. It should not be a dominant color. The dominant colors are the green and the black and the white. Okay. This is boilerplate. Andrew, it's a quote. 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. You can actually save this one. You don't need to put in different ones unless you think it's compelling to use a different quote. But this is Andrew Carnegie's favorite quote. So why change it? It's a pretty nice quote, right? 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. What's more compelling than that? Okay. All right, next one. Industry experience. This is pretty much designed for you already, including the text. You really don't have to change anything. One thing I find it very interesting, I did not draft this one, but my VA actually, I don't know where she took it from. It has, if you look at our track record of success, you look at line number 4, where it says real estate legal consultation and license training in the industry. How many brokerage firm can say they have real estate legal consultation and license training in the industry? Not too many. You got me. I'm still an active member of the State Bar of California. I still practice. Oh, I don't practice law just simply because I don't have time to do both selling real estate and practicing law. Okay, so I don't have time for that. But I maintain my license so you can make such a claim. What the benefit of me being your broker? And that is a big plus. So if when you go out and do your marketing or sales pitch, it is it's a plus that you have to insert in your sales pitch. Why waste it? Your broker is a real estate attorney. Okay, even though he's not actively practicing law right now, but he accumulated over 30 years of experience. Over. Well, not quite 30 years, but about 25, 26, 27 years of experience. Okay, that's great. Okay, now license training, of course. I train agents to get their real estate license to help them get their loan license. Okay, so I don't know where Mariella get this from, but certainly not from me. But she somehow, oh, actually, she may have gotten it from our website. Our website is pretty much quite close to finishing. Okay, sooner or later we're gonna get it launched. Okay, but now as you can see, you got some yellow here. That's fine. Some green, a lot of black, and some white. So it's a great design. Okay, it matches our color theme. Whitelist with us. You really don't need to change anything here, okay, unless you see compelling to change it. Okay, so this is good enough to go. Our listing strategies, color scheme looks good, a little bit yellow, some green, okay. Guided tours, you can leave it here. Buyer persona creation, I think that's a nice thing to have. Professional staging, yeah, we do professional staging, so we can actually make a claim on that. So it's okay to leave it there. In fact, uh, I think a certain amount of staging is necessary to get a home sold for the best money. Sometimes you can get a home sold for a certain price, but you can actually sell it for more if it's properly staged. I think the money that the seller invests in staging, he will get he will get the returns in many folds. Okay, so professional staging, targeted social media ads. Oh, that's what I like. Social media ads. We actually do quite a bit of advertisements on YouTube for the newer homes. As you know, we've been shooting some videos of newer homes, and my strategy has been to spend money where we're actually going to get some people to call us. And we're doing great with the Chinese videos for new homes. And I want to apply it to the English videos. And I need participants. I don't have enough participants. So I need to get some participants so we can build up the SEO. At least get me started so I can actually buy some ads to help you get some clients. Okay. Now there is a certain amount of referral fee that we will charge just to defray our cost of making these videos and also promoting these videos. That is a must if you want to participate. We can talk about that in detail. Okay. Now targeted social media ads, you can actually, when you go for your listing presentation, you can let your prospective seller know we are spending quite a bit of money on YouTube, um, presently not on Facebook, maybe in the future. Also, presently not on Instagram, maybe in the future. Pinterest, yes, certainly we will spend money on Pinterest ads, okay, because Pinterest ads is really inexpensive, okay. All right, sounds great. Let's move on. We're doing great with time, okay. Now, certainly that doesn't look like me. I will replace it with my photo, of course. Now, I would suggest that you put in the photo with the classic look. I think the black and white will give you that classic look. Now, to convert your color photo into a black and white, you just need to go into Canva and use the appropriate filter. It becomes black and white. Okay. I think the black and white photo with a blurry background like this guy here, his background is blurry. So if you have the type of camera that can take a nice super sharp photo with blurry background but very sharp subject, use that kind of camera to take it. That way, when you apply the filter over your photo, you got that super blurry background, very sharp portrait. It's gonna look nice on this page, okay? Now this is where you're gonna change it to your name, right? It's not gonna be Kenny Tan. It'll be your name, whatever your name is, okay? And again, the color scheme, yellow here, a little bit yellow, and mostly green and black. That look nice, okay? Our listing strategy, we talked about that already. Somehow it jumped back in here. And then creating the right buyer persona. Uh, the text obviously is not the right text. I need to change that. Okay. But this is where you talk to your uh, seller about how to create the right buyer persona. Okay. So that's something that you will discuss with your prospective seller. Buyer persona and sales growth. Key profiling question. That's something that we'll talk about in the future, but that's a page on your presentation. Presentation, same thing. The text here should be replaced. I will change it. We couldn't quite finish it last night. So, but that will be finished for another training on listening presentation sometime in the future. Okay. Now, of course, this one has benefits of creating buyer persona. That will be properly filled out with the proper text and everything. And this one here uh, shows the buyer profile, for example, an example of buyer profile. So this is nice. So it's got the black and the green. I'm going to talk to the VA about changing the text to white because if it's dark over dark, it's hard to read. So all the text will be replaced with white color, and that way it's easy to read. Right now, it's extremely tough to read. Okay. Now this one looks great. it says HLDC, it will be changed to Centermac listing success rate. We will actually present here a chart that shows it, okay, a real chart and not just a fake chart, okay. Our listing sold monthly for 2020, that will be presented here, okay. And then median sale price of listed home, we'll have admin crunch out the numbers and we'll put it here with the right number. Again, we got the yellow and the green. In fact, I'm going to ask her to change. I may ask her to change it to both green, and then just saving the lines as yellow, and then the text as white text. I think it's easier to read. Okay. All right. Now these are photos. Now this page you have to actually modify. If you don't have any assistant, obviously you have to remove the assistant's name. However, if you have professional partners that you work with, such as a mortgage a loan officer or a title officer that you work with, you can actually talk to the loan officer or title officer and make this part of your team members. Okay, you can actually change this. This architect could be a loan officer, where it says a sales manager. It could be some other professional that you work with, and with their permission, put their photos here. And again, I think the black and white classic actually looks very good. So you should actually make it black and white. Okay. And I don't know what this is. This will have to be removed because this is about taking photography. I don't know what it's doing here. Okay, but that will have to be removed. I'll remove that. Okay. 10 weeks, whatever. Oh, these are just the extra stuff that will be removed. Okay. 10 weeks is got to have some application here, but this one does have some application. This is talking about median days on market with Centermac listings. So, 10 weeks. Okay, I see what 10 weeks means now. So 10 weeks is actually for the graphic below. Now, that's a number that we have to crunch it out for you. You don't know what that number is, so we'll crunch it out for you. Okay. Median days on market without Centermac listing. This is just a comparison. Okay. I may or may not keep this page. I may delete it. Okay. The difference, we talked about the difference, right? So this is kind of important. All of this concept, research-driven analysis, that's applicable to us. Consultative approach, yes, that's certainly applicable to us. Quality marketing materials, yes, that's applicable to us. Transparency and communication, yes, we certainly try to maintain that standard of being transparent. Okay, well, we strive to do that. Okay, let's connect on social now. Over here, I asked her to put down YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram. But if you want to put some other social media on your listing presentation, I would allow you to do that. Right now, it looks pretty good because it is certainly a fact that we are promoting our listings on YouTube, also on Pinterest, that's for sure, and also definitely on Instagram. These are the three main platforms. Now, for the Chinese prospective seller, you need to put in like Line. They are more familiar with Line or WeChat. Make sure you have those in here as opposed to YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram. Okay, all right. And now, and then listing timeline. That's something that I have to finish it up because you need to kind of educate your prospective seller what the listing timeline looks like. For example, how long will it take for the property to be ready? How long will it take for it to be staged? How long will it take for it to be on the MLS? How long will it take for it to receive the first offer? And how long will it be in escrow for? And from start to finish, how long will it take for them to get their property sold? That is what we call the listing timelines. Okay. All right. Our team, this one I have to do it for you. It's called the Centermac Realty team. Okay. Now the Realty team, I know in some company they have showing and listing manager. We don't have that. We're not that big, so we don't have that. We'll probably do something different here. Okay. Sales consultant, we don't have that. This is for a bigger team. Okay. Portfolio coordinator, we don't have that. We might change it to a virtual assistant or SkySlope coordinator. So you need to kind of talk to your prospective seller. We do use SkySlope to manage our transaction. That is a big plus because I think documents can be safely saved in SkySlope and can be easily accessed by me as a broker, can be easily tracked and managed by our virtual assistant. She's actually getting better at it. Okay, so that will be finished for your use. Okay, keep in touch. Mailing address. So certainly, if you belong to Fremont, Northern California, you have the Fremont address. Okay, even Sacramento these days will use a Fremont address, and your email address will be your own personal email address, whatever that address is. And your phone number will be your phone number. Most people, most agents will just use their cell phone number. Okay. Color scheme looks great. I love the color scheme. Black, green, and white. Okay. Thank you for your time. That's a nice touch. Free resources, you know, it looks nice on a listing presentation, but it really doesn't do much. Okay. But this is a very professionally looking listing presentation slide that you can actually modify and use. I put it in the Google Drive. Okay. Okay. Finally, on the last topic for the day, let me go ahead and fire up my this Gmail. Now, I want to say a few things about preliminary title report. If you are new to real estate, you don't know what a preliminary title report is. I just want to kind of explain to you what it's for and why do you need to review it and why lender pays a lot of attention to the preliminary title report. See, certainly a lender wants to make sure because lender is going to be investing a lot of money. They're going to be investing a big chunk of money into the real estate. They don't want to have any problem that involves title. Well, I'll share with you one of the problems that lenders don't want to see is litigation involving the HOAs. Now, you may ask me, well, Kenny, will I be able to see any evidence of litigation involving the HOA just from the preliminary title report? The answer is yes and no. Most of the time, most litigation involving the HOA don't show up on the preliminary title report. And the only way you're going to find out about it is going to be through the disclosure. Sometimes you don't even find out about it through the disclosure. You find out about it. The worst thing is you find out about it after close of escrow. See, the thing is, when you are representing a buyer on a purchase of a condominium that involve HOA, these days even single-family residents may have HOA. Now, if there is an HOA, one of the things that you're going to have to pay attention to is, are there litigation involving the HOA? If there are, few things you need to worry about. First thing is, can you get your loan approved? Some lenders don't want to deal with litigation involving HOA. Right away, they reject your loan. Other lenders, they may take a closer look. They may say, oh, let us take a closer look and see if it's a big deal or not big deal. Now, these lenders are more practical because you know why? Not all litigation involving HOA are litigations you need to be worried about. Litigations involving HOAs that you need to worry about are the ones that will cause substantial loss to the homeowners in terms of attorney's fees. Now, if at the time your buyer bought the property, it's already toward the final phase of the litigation. For example, they're pretty much settling the case, or even better, they've already signed the settlement agreement, except that the case is not dismissed yet. So sometimes you need to take a closer look. Is it one of those cases where it has been settled, but there was no dismissal yet? Okay. Or is it one of those cases that have resulted in a judgment? We know what the final judgment amount is, but the judgment has not been recorded yet. See, if it has resulted in judgment or resulted in the dismissal of the case, there is certainty that affect your buyer's financial bottom line and also the lender's bottom line. So the lender would not be so concerned about it. But if it's the starting of a litigation, lender will freak out when they see litigation. So when you're submitting offers, certainly sometimes the listing agent, not always, sometimes the listing agent will share with you the preliminary title report. If you're in Northern California, it is a custom and practice for the listing agent to order a copy of the preliminary title report, and it's free anyway. When I was a listing agent in Northern California, I always get it for free from my title rep, and they're more than willing to give you the title report. And when I get it, I'll go through the title report to see if there's any litigation. Certainly, if you have taken my real estate license course before, I taught you guys what a lispendence is, right? So going back to litigation involving the HOA. That's one reason you want to read the title report. Okay. Another reason you want to read the title report, it may not have anything to do with litigation. It could be child support, or it could be alimony, or it could be a personal judgment against the seller. Now, you're probably thinking, well, why do I need to worry about it? All this will be paid through escrow anyway, right? While that may be true, it's never going to be the buyer's responsibility because the title company is not going to allow the escrow to close if these judgments are not paid anyway. So it's never going to be the buyer's problem. However, in these days and age of bidding war, you spend a couple of months on one property by being stuck or in a pending escrow and then realize that the seller could not close escrow. In these 2 months, what could you have done already? You could have gone out and looked at other properties, right? You could have gone out and looked at other properties and say, well, I mean, you have all of these missed opportunities if you get stuck with the wrong properties. That's why it's important to read the title report. Okay, litigation, list pendants. And there's no list pendants, personal judgment. Now, today's example, I want to show you a title report. So in the future, in future training, the way for me to teach you how to read title report is not by telling you, you know, each and every possible lien that will show up because you would not remember them anyway. It's for me to show you example of title reports. Sometimes some agents will ask me to review. They may have all sorts of different things on the title report. So I will give you examples going forward in future training. If I see a unique situation, I'll share with you. That's how I'm going to be able to train you. Because reviewing title report is really an attorney's job, not a real estate agent's job. And I don't have time to review every single one of your title reports. So what do? I teach you some basic stuff. So let's go ahead and learn the basic stuff today. All right, let me go ahead and open this up. This is the document I want to show you. And you are seeing, oh, you know what? Let's see if I can. Now, if you can see my screen, all of your eyesights are better than mine anyway. So if I can see it, you should be able to see it. Okay. Uh, the first page I usually skip because there's really nothing to it. Okay. Second page, I usually check the number 2, which is the seller's names. I want to make sure that the seller's name actually match the purchase contract. If someone else show up on the title, then I need to communicate with the listing agent and make sure that at the time of the signing, this person whose name does not appear on the purchase contract will be more ready, willing, and able to sign whatever document that this person whose name does not appear on the purchase contract will sign. Okay. All right. Now, where it says number 3, the land referred to in this report as described as follows. Usually I skip it because it's extremely rare that this one is a problem. So I usually just kind of skip that number 3. Okay. Ah, shoot. Sorry about that. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to, you see, it's a bunch of legal description, which unless you are a land surveyor, you are clueless about what it says. Okay. So don't worry about it. As a real estate agent, uh, it's not important to you to figure this out. It's really, it's very, very extremely rare that this is a problem. Okay, I can't remember last time I had a problem with this. Okay, and then now we look at the exceptions. These are what we call exceptions. Exceptions are things that the title company would not pay for. Okay, now so the exceptions, the ones that show up early under the exceptions are usually the property taxes lien. Property taxes lien, usually you don't worry about them. Usually they get paid through escrow anyway. And unless you know, the seller really has very, very low equity, borderline, you don't really need to worry about. See, the thing is, even though the buyer does not have to worry about uh, over encumbered property, but I can't really say they don't have anything to worry about, especially in these days and age. Because if they get stuck with a property that can never close escrow because it's over encumbered, they better find out early. That way they can switch their attention to some other property instead of being stuck with this property, right? So this one here, it shows how much property taxes due, first and second installment. That's common. Nothing to be concerned about. Uh, This one has mellow rules, right? So you know because number 3, sometimes the buyer might ask you, well, this one has mellow rules or no mellow rules. Oh yeah, there is mellow rules on this one. So we have to let the buyer know there is mellow rules. Okay. But so what if there is mellow rules? I mean, there are many new development that has mellow rules. Okay. It's already disclosed. As far as disclosure goes for Melrose, it can be through the transfer disclosure statement or through the title report. Okay, both places are disclosures to the seller that there is Melrose. Number 4 talks about supplemental or see, number 4 has to do with property taxes stuff. Usually, I don't pay attention to them. And then number 5 talks about water rights claims or title to water, blah, 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 not disclosed. So these are exceptions. I don't usually pay attention to things like that unless your buyer is buying property where he's going to be making use of certain water rights. But if your buyer is not going to be like properties that are found within the city, there's no such thing to talk about water rights. So you can actually skip that. Now, matters contained in that certain document, every time when you see development agreement, usually I don't worry about them because this is just for the developer to fulfill certain legal requirement. The buyer never really have to worry about this type of, they have to be recorded, but nothing to be concerned about on title. Okay, now exceptions continue. So these are all exceptions. And then you're going to have things like, for example, it says First Amendment to Redevelopment Agreement. Again, any kind of amendments to redevelopment agreement, don't worry about it. You can't do anything about that. And it does not affect the use of the property. So usually I just kind of leave it alone. Okay. Partial assignment and assumption of development agreement, same thing, is all the legal stuff. Nothing really the buyer can do about, and nothing uh, significantly affect the buyer's use of the property. So I just kind of leave it alone. Easement, the only type of easement I'm worried about on the non-public one. Now, see, this is a public easement, so I don't worry about this. Especially in a well-developed area, we pay less attention to public easement because a developer in developing a piece of land, they have to. Uh, it's very very common for them to obtain or to provide certain. It says granted to, so the developer might be asked by the city to grant to the city certain easement. It's very common, okay? So don't be too alarmed by it, especially when it's a public easement like that. It's part of the development process. Don't worry about it. Number nine, private public entity utility. Now, this is utility stuff. So easement for utility, these are what we call easement in gross. I don't worry about easement in gross because it is what it is. It's not going to affect the use of the property by the buyer. Now for CCNR, I'll tell you what I do with CCNR. Usually I just go in and look. I will click this, but to save time, I'm not going to do it today, but next time I will. I'll go in there. There are only two things I check basically. Well, there are three things I check. First thing I check is, do they allow pets? So if my buyer plans to have pets, so you want to find out about the pet restriction. Second thing I want to check is, do they allow rental? Because some of these newer development, they don't allow rental in the first 12 months of ownership. This one here, they may or may not be an issue. You just have to go in and read it. Now, the easiest way to find out where it's at is by reading the table of content. Okay. And the third thing that you want to pay attention to is parking. What kind of parking restriction they have? Okay, so three things: rental and parking, and what's the third thing? I forgot. Okay, anyway, there are three things. All right, and then you go down here. You see easement again, and this is a public easement because it has Southern California Edison's name on it. So I don't worry about that. I usually just kind of skip that. Deed of trust, it should have an amount here. If it doesn't have an amount, it says 484,000. So you have an idea. That's just an approximate amount. It could be more, it could be less, just approximate. So on a $900,000 purchase, it actually uh, shows that it has substantial equity. So it's okay, not a big deal. Financing statement. Now, this is what we call the UCC. UCC is some sort of personal lien. So this is one way I would check with the listing agent and get more information about it. Because if I click on it, it shows up as a UCC. Okay, now it shows up as a UCC. And if you see something like a UCC financing statement is some kind of personal lien. Usually not a real big deal. You just need to know what it's about. Could it be something related to the seller's business? Or it could be related to Solar, for example, I don't know what it's about, so I need to get more information on it. But at this moment, I don't think it's a deal killer. So I'm still feeling pretty good about it because I don't think it's a deal killer. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the next item. But I certainly will make more inquiry about number 13. Okay. And then the last one, it says, oh, they require statement information. That's a standard language. I don't pay attention. The title company will always require the borrower, actually in this case, it will be the seller, who is going to have to complete the statement information. That is an exception. If they don't get the statement information, they will not close escrow. So that's pretty much all I'm going to share with you on preliminary title report. I hope to show you more examples, especially the one that were problematic in the future. Right now, today, this is an easy one. Hopefully, we'll close escrow in about 20 days. Okay. Well, thank you so much for attending. I appreciate very much. As you can see, I actually reminded everybody how important it is to attend our weekly sales training. So the attendance actually went up very much. We have at least 19 people that stay till the very end. Now, some of you are not using YouTube in watching this. I would encourage you to use YouTube because that way you can write comment and let me know you're here. Because I only interact with you once a week. I need to know you're here attending my training. I don't have much expectation on you, whether as a full-time agent or part-time agent about your production. But my expectation on you is to stay sharp and stay proficient as a real estate agent. So in order to do that, you need to constantly update yourself. And I constantly will bring you new stuff. So my goal is to bring you 4 new topics every week. And it's not just going to be about sales on all the topics. You can count on maybe a couple of topics on sales, one topic on zip form, another topic on other real estate transaction stuff. So please do me a favor, do yourself a favor as well. Attend the training regularly. Okay, thank you very much. And as usual, next week we'll have our training at 11 a.m. See you guys next week.